We're going to focus today on how to solve systems of inequalities, and they're similar to systems of equations. Really the main goal is to find any and all points that make the equation or inequality true. So in the case of inequalities, there can be more than one coordinate that can do that. So for this first exercise, they want us to determine if each of the following points is a solution or not. So we got to say yes or no. And they want us to show some work that justifies our answer. So for the first one and the second one, again, these are x and y values. And for it to be true, we have to make sure that each point will work in both of the inequalities. And the same thing with systems of equations as well. So if I take the first equation, the x plus y is greater than 10, I throw in the 3 and the 8 for the x and the y, I'm going to get 11 is greater than 10, which is true. And it's got to check both, so let's take the second one. We've got 8 is greater than or equal to 3 times 3 minus 5. So if I put the right side, 3 times 3, 9, minus 5 would be 4. 8 is greater than or equal to 4, so that's true. Now if I go to the other one, well, you'll notice the first one does work as well. And again, if this is the Regents and they're having you check a point or pick a point to check, this is the work that you want to show for that process. So 14 is greater than 10, true. And then we go to the second one. We got 9 is greater than or equal to 3 times 5 minus 5. So that would be 10. 9 is not greater than or equal to 10, so that one's false. So what that means is that B, this is not a solution. And this one is a solution. Because again, in the question, determine if each of the points is a solution or not to the system. So this one is, that one's not. They want us to graph it, graph the solution. So we got to do that work for this question. Now I can do this one, the second one, easily because y is by itself. So I'm going to start with that one, and I'm going to focus on the points. Now again, you can type this into y equals, and you would type it in as if it was an equal sign, and go from there. So I'm going to go ahead, I know I have to go up 3 and over 1 to get to each next point. So I'm going to go ahead and fill those points in. You can kind of do the same on your paper. Now, this goes to the chart in my classroom when we're talking about where to shade and what type of line. If we are talking about a less than or a greater than sign, okay, less than or greater than, those are going to be dashed lines. Less than or equal or greater than or equal are going to be solid lines because they include the equal part. For the less than, we're going to shade below. And for the greater than, we're going to shade above. So you can kind of jot that anywhere. I think it might also be on the next page, depending on the copy that you got from me. So I'm going to go ahead and this is the greater than or equal. So I'm going to draw the line, no dash for this one. Arrows on each side, shade above. So this would be my high side. Think of it like a little person. Person has to stand on the higher side. Now for the second one, I'd have to subtract x on each side. Try to get y by itself. So I get y is greater than negative x plus 10, which again would be negative 1x. So if I go to 10, put a dot there, it's my y-intercept, and I go down 1 and over 1 for each next point. That's going to give me the line, and this one is a greater than. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to dash this line, which means that there are no answers, in fact, on the line. It's only values greater than. And then again, the high side would be this side, the side of the above. So it looks like right here, in this area, are the solutions, the double shaded area. So now you'll see 3, 8. 0.38 is right here. There's the 0.38 in that double shaded area. And then 5.9 5.9 is close, but it's not quite in. So for this one, 3.8 does work. I kind of drew that line a little goofy. I should be just outside that. But if it's a solution, it's got to be in the double shaded part, because sometimes some of the coordinates could be in one part, like this point here and this point here. There's a solution for one, but not the other one. So you got to make sure that you find one that's a solution for both. So as you're looking, and if you are doing, so like I was going through, I talked about, again, the double shaded part, looking for solutions in the double shaded part. But when you do graphs on the regions that are inequalities, you really have to focus on the type of line and where to shade. Because every time you shade a line incorrectly, or shade a side of the line incorrectly, or do the wrong type of line, you will lose a point on that question. Now we're going to look at a multiple choice question. If you go to the back of this page, exercise 3, and they're asking which of the following points is the solution. So I know by the word which that it's going to be a multiple choice question. Show the work that leads to your answer. So we got the two inequalities, and what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to show you one of the examples, and then I'm going to have you find the right answer from the remaining four. So if you take, let's say I think answer 2 might be the answer. Again, we have an x and a y value. We have to make sure that it checks in both inequalities. So if I take the first one and do 2 is less than or equal to negative 4 times 0 plus 2. Now, when I'm thinking about what to type in the calculator, really the only part you're putting in the calculator is the part with any work on that side. So when you put this part into the calculator, you're going to end up getting 2. So 2 is less than or equal to 2. That's true. Now you want to do, again, both to make sure that you have a correct answer. So if we do the second one, we have 2 is greater than, and then x is 0. So it's 0 over 2 plus 7. So if I'm typing, again, this into the calculator, that part, because I want to get one number, that's going to give me 2 is greater than 7, again, which that is false. So as soon as I get a false, something that's not true, I can cross out that answer. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and check the other 3 and figure out which of the remaining choices is the correct answer. Now, as you look at the rest of the paper, some things to look out for. Okay, you're going to see in these assignments, you're going to see somewhere you have to plug in. Again, we're looking for answers in that double shaded area. So like 2, you'd want to graph those points to help you figure out which point is in that double shaded part. And as you work on 3 and some of the other ones where you got to do graphs, like 4, when you work on 3 and 4, just make sure you have y by itself. So when you graph, you get y by itself, and then you can plug that into the calculator. But if you need any help, please feel free to ask me in class. Thanks.